Hello, welcome to the first edition of Oakys Garage. And what we have here today is a 1964, we believe, Honda CB92e in actual CB92r kit that came that somebody bought a while back, or it came with it, or not really quite sure, but we got all the parts laid out here. This bike actually came upon it, and it was taken apart in a warehouse in the 1970s, early 1970s. There was a newspaper in the box that said January 71. So we figure that when all the parts are stashed away, that that it was taken apart around when that newspaper was printed. So what would happen here is somebody had taken this bike apart, and they had a lot of parts chromed, and but everything was totally disassembled. I've done a lot of assembly in the last couple months on this bike, having to identify each piece through the internet and records and parts catalog that we ended up getting. But as you can see, this is pretty much this. Like I say, there's quite a few parts here that are assembled again, but I pretty much had to go through and figure out what every single part was to figure out how to put it back together, and every single nut and bolt and where it went. And there was a lot of new parts. There was the mufflers I just showed you a second ago were pretty brand new in a bag, but they had gotten water on them. They were stored in a warehouse for all those years. And so each one of these pieces had to be identified. I still got a whole nother bench over here of parts with like a tail light. I assembled it all, put it all in a bag so it doesn't get dirty. These parts used to be actually just painted, but somebody had chromed these side covers, so we're not going to mess with that because they look really nice. And the carb, I just have to clean the carb. We have a carb rebuilding kit that I'm going to throw in that. And then the original speedometer. Bike had 3,722 miles on it when somebody took it apart. The headlight, which I just painted the back of it. So we went through this whole thing and painted each of the parts. Had my son paint it. We couldn't come up with any kind of code for the paint, so we pretty much had to go by pictures and as much as I could come up with. And they came in red and blue, with always with the silver tank. This is actually called a 125 Bentley. It's also known as. These were brought in the United States in 1959 and sold through 64, and they didn't sell a lot of the 125s, so a lot of people really wanted the British bikes. They wanted bigger CC bikes, and that was what was really selling in the 60s. So Mr. Honda had brought these over to sell, and these were high revving, a 125cc engine that revved out to about 14,000 RPMs, which was pretty much unheard of at that time. And the engine's in the other room. I had the only thing that was not taken apart on this whole project was the engine itself. So the very first thing I ended up doing was to put the bike back all together in order so I could start the thing and see if it ran. And we got a new battery. We had to buy an old stock battery, a new old stock battery, and I did get the engine started. It sounded great. It wasn't smoking at all or anything. So that's when I tore everything back apart, and we We painted everything. The silver ends up to be a Honda Silver. Bought a new gas cap off of eBay. And so I had my son Jesse paint the gas tank. It had new emblems in a little bag that came with it. Like I say, there was quite a few new parts, so that helped along the way of making it really mint again. And like you can see, I already started assembling some of the pieces, the front end, and which the shocks actually go up inside these stamped metal frame pieces that really made all these bikes look like the Dream style that everybody calls the Dream, the Baby Dream style. Which actually, here's just another bike I just picked up. This is going to be done after I'm done with this one. This is actually a Honda CB92e. I'm sorry, CA95e, and I picked that up. It's pretty complete, and once I'm done putting this back together, we're gonna totally tear this one apart and restore this one back to original shape. This is this black one here, the CA95 is a 63, we believe. I still got to look up the serial numbers on that, but we believe that that's what it is. But it's a complete bike, and it's in nice shape. It's got 15,716 miles on it. So somebody rode this around for quite a while. But the motor, it's seized up. I got Marvel Mystery Oil setting in that, and hopefully that's going to free itself up. It might take a while, but we're patient here, and we're going to make that back into a beautiful, nice little bike. That's a 150 CA95e. So back to the CB92e, or R, whichever you want to call it. We're going to start assembling this thing, and I'm going to bring you back, put this into a couple episodes, and show you how things are progressing as I assemble this bike and get it all roadworthy again. So we'll be back with you. Thanks for watching.